Hello and welcome to Prairie Pulse. Joining us on today's show is the mayor of the city of Fargo, North Dakota, Mayor Tim Mahoney. Mayor, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks, John. It's a pleasure to be on.
Well, we've got a lot to talk about. 2020 has been an interesting and stressful year for many people, and you've been a busy man in the last few weeks and months. And let's start with COVID-19. What are you currently seeing in Fargo? It seems like maybe things are stabilizing, and what are your impressions with what's going on in Fargo area?
Well, we're very pleased with the progress we've made with COVID-19. I think early on we were very aggressive in what we asked our population to do. So our commission and myself with the West Fargo and Cass County came out with directives to have people stay in their homes, try to do social distancing, and we asked the population to really take it seriously. We are very pleased that people did do that. So what you're going to find is North Dakota is the number 5 states in the nation that did well with this disease. We had a penetration within our population of less than 2%. And a lot of times what you saw in New York and other places, they did the mountain. So their numbers went up to the top and then came back down. And we were kind of a boring state because we stayed almost a plateau, went flat, then came back down off of that. We'd have little spikes just because more testing would be done one day and come in all at once, those types of things. And I had my staff draft out everything ever since this started. And you'll see what I call, it's like walleye fishing, John. It's bottom bouncing. What you see is it goes up, down, up, down, up, down, but we never get that massive spike. And the other thing that we started to watch is hospitalizations and deaths in the state. And we're below the estimated death rate we would have had. We were estimated to have 600 deaths in the state. And we really have stayed below that. I think we're not even up to 100 yet. The other thing you have to look at is we never migrated very much up over 40 hospitalizations in the state at any time. In our community, we had the capacity for 750 beds if we would have needed it. And then we had a surge capacity of 1,500 beds. So we had cots out at the Fargo Dome. We were prepared for all those things to happen. I've been very pleased to see that's really happened as we've stayed on that bottom bouncing, haven't gone much up, and now we're seeming to kind of go to a lower and lower level. I always argued with the modelists that I thought this virus would start to fade in the summer and then it will come back in the fall.
Yeah, of course, Cass County seems to have the high numbers when you look across North Dakota. Is that really just population, or is it more testing, or what factors are factor into that?
We have really looked at that over and over to see what we felt was happening in our community. And the problem is we're the big urban center of the state of North Dakota, the biggest city in the state. And we have 136,000 people come into our community working every day. And it's a big mix of people. I have 30,000 people from outside the county coming into work. So what you see, I think, is a mix. We also have some manufacturing plants that are 500 or greater. We also have the highest number of nursing homes. So all those combined just say you have big urban area. I don't like to say that we're like Southern New York, but South New York area had higher numbers because of the urban density. But I do feel that we've handled it much better and not overwhelmed our medical facilities because of that. People get mad at us because they want businesses to open up, but the reality is you have our numbers because of your urban numbers, and it is held actually very low.
Well, talking about businesses reopening, what have you been seeing? Because I know I've heard some bars and restaurants have reopened some and then have closed for cleanings, sometimes because of a case. I think I heard of one just closed for a 24-hour just to do a thorough cleaning.
That's correct. So what happened with us is that the incident in the state is less than 2%. The governor wants to do mass testing this weekend to see if we can continue to have low numbers. But anybody who wants to get tested can come on and get tested on Thursday and Friday. But what we're seeing in the business opening, they started at 50%. And I talked to the governor and said, we're doing very well with that. Let's increase to 75%. And we are seeing the bars and restaurants coming back. Interestingly enough, the public was a little shy at first, but now they're fully into it. My wife and I went out to a restaurant the other night. The staff had their masks on. We're seeing more people come back into our restaurants and bar areas. We're also talking about public events, as you know, a great question about graduation and what we could do. And finally got it to you could have 2 guests at the graduation, they social distance. Very pleased that that went well throughout the city. People are very happy to be there for their son or daughter's graduation.
Well, you're talking about the economy a little bit and maybe starting to come back, but are you still worried about a number of businesses, maybe smaller ones, that they just won't make it through all this, and how will that affect the city?
We're very concerned about that, and we've been working with FM Foundation, United Way, and other methodologies, even with the governor and the funding. So how can we help these businesses out? So we're very concerned about that. One of my commissioners thought there'd be a 20% death rate in that market area. We're not seeing that. We're seeing some are gonna, I had one restaurant in which the gentleman that owned it, Toscana's, died. And I'm very concerned that restaurant wouldn't come back, and now the VFW is taking that over and going to run a restaurant in there as well. So we're seeing, I think they'll have a spacing out, but I do not think we're going to have a high mortality. Most of our restaurants that did well will continue to do well. Granite City shut down, but that's a national chain that nationally they went bankrupt. It didn't really have to do with us. We're very concerned about business. Smart Restart is something we worked with vigorously with the governor, and we want to make sure these businesses can come back and get a fighting chance. I think I'm seeing that. I'm seeing some positive things in our environment and economics as far as we look at numbers. Interestingly enough, on sales tax, a lot of people ordered via Amazon. We saw, I'll give you an interesting thing, John, is our cardboard dump sites where people turn in their cardboard. We had 4 times the amount we normally get. So I'm hoping that will translate to sales tax from the internet. So we'll see how that works out.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned graduations, and I think a lot of people were at least happy that parents got the chance to be there. I know also disappointed that other family members couldn't. But now looking forward, do you believe schools will have in-person classes for Fargo Public Schools, NDSU, and private schools?
The way we're looking at it, we're very hopeful a vaccine will be ready for the fall. And I'm talking to different people involved with the school openings. I anticipate it'll be in person. I don't know if you had any children that were at home during this time. It was really difficult. My son's a junior, he'll be a senior this year. Online works, but it's not the same as being there in person with your classmates, being able to ask questions, be able to interact with your teachers. I think there'll be a lot of pressure to have in-person schools in the fall.
Well, Mayor, we want to change gears right now, and we want to talk about the protests that were in Fargo over the death of George Floyd, which occurred, of course, in Minneapolis over Memorial Day. Can you talk about the daytime protest and march that happened in Fargo?
The daytime was a different element than the evening time. I went downtown Broadway, was watching the people come into the march area, and Mayor Judd and I were standing on the edge of the crowd as we listened to speakers. It was, a lot of people were saddened by George Floyd's death, and a lot of people had a lot of things that they basically vocalized in the park, and we got to listen to that, and that was good. I liked that. The march went through our city. I thought it was going to be downtown, and then it migrated out to our police station. A little bit surprised. There's a little distance there. You have to walk a ways to get there. When we got to the police station, it got a little bit more aggressive and a little bit more pushy towards what was going to happen. And then Mayor Judd and I started to talk to the demonstrators and started to visit with them and basically say, okay, what are your issues? What are your concerns? Let's talk about it. And then Chief Todd was there as well. So we had a great dialogue. We were very pleased what happened. Everybody was able to come up and talk to us. We asked both mayors different questions, asked the police chief different questions. We felt we had very meaningful dialogue at that time. And so it felt pretty good. In fact, I went home from that thinking it was okay. I went back out to West Fargo. They finished their demonstration there. And then when it came back downtown, it turned ugly. And that was unfortunate.
Well, and that's what the next question is. Yeah, at night, things did seem to change dramatically. Based on your information and your experience now, was the group different than what you saw that afternoon and morning, or what happened?
Well, I even talked to the organizers about it. Although some were still there, there was a different mix of people. So there were 2 police cars downtown that people jumped on top of and started to get fairly aggressive, kick the windows in and break things on the police car with officers in the car. So of course we had to get the officers out, and we had to bring our police up to get them out and extricate them. And then as the evening progressed, a lot of verbal insults, and then people picked up rocks and stones and started throwing at our police. We had some bricks thrown at our police force, and we didn't have all the protective gear on them early on because we were trying to do a peaceful demonstration. It then migrated that we had to have our police force fully prepared for a riot, and that's basically what they did. Police Todd was incident commander and did an excellent job. We had help from all over the state. It's not something you want to see in your community, but we were prepared for what happened. We had a great restraint to try not to do anything until it was actually pushed to the limit. So when people say, wow, you suddenly had to do this, well, yeah, we had to take our street back and our city back. And we felt some outside agitators were there as well as inside agitators. When I first had a press release on that, I felt there was a lot of outside agitators that had pushed it. I don't believe that now. I think there were inside as well as outside people who wanted this to get a little bit more aggressive.
Okay. With that, you mentioned Mayor Judd and the governor. How much did you coordinate with either the chamber, the four mayors from the metropolitan area here, or the governor in working this situation out?
So on the night of the riot, we had Bernie Dardis, myself, and Judd were all interconnected with what was going on. Chad Peterson is of the county with the Sheriff Johnner. We were all interconnected. And it just so happened the governor came back to Fargo, was in Fargo that particular day. We had to do an emergency declaration, and Burgum did an excellent job of getting that coordinated and getting us to get through with that. We had great communication between the team, just say, here's what we're thinking of doing. And really, as a politician, you don't want to interfere with police business. They make their decisions of what they do. But he was very helpful in communicating as well with us. I was very pleased with the coordination of people in our community and in our state. Everybody was helpful to us. We reached out to many police force and sheriffs throughout the state to help us because it's a numbers. I mean, you don't normally have enough police force to take on riots. So you need extra help on some of those business things to help protect the rest of the city. So we are very pleased with the help that we got.
Yeah. Can you comment on a story that's come out in the last few days about the resignation of Fargo Deputy Chief Todd Osmundson over his undercover role on the night of May 30th? Can you comment on that?
Right now, what we're doing on that, John, is an investigation. I can't go into all of that, but I can tell you that he was on what we call light duty. So if you're on light duty, you can't stand the line with the police force because you could get injured or something could happen. You're not 100% to be out there. And what he did was not sanctioned. He did this on his own. But we'll do an investigation, report that to the public, and I'll give you guys the rest of the information you'd like. It was an unfortunate incident.
Well, I don't know how much you've talked. Black Lives Matter in Fargo believe Chief Todd knew of the situation. Can you comment at all on that?
No, they made a statement on Monday, but they didn't do any revealing of what they knew or didn't know. So it's very hard for me to comment. I'm not clear what they were about on that. We take information from a variety of sources. We have cameras downtown. We have policemen on the streets. We have a variety of different people. And those were a lot of our source and information. A lot of the people that have been charged now, it's on camera that we have them. So it's the cameras downtown, business cameras as well. So most of our intelligence comes from stuff that we have that's present. There were also 2 undercover police in the crowd as well to give us intelligence. And this is just, what you do when you have civil unrest. You have to be aware of what's going on. There was some guns that were around. There were some other things that were around in the crowd. So that had to be diffused as well. Do I wish they would have continued it peaceful? Yes, I did. But do I feel we had to do the things we need to protect downtown? Yes, I do.
Well, with that said, Mayor, the next protest on June the 5th, you actually met with leaders of different groups, I believe the day before. and that seemed to be a more peaceful protest. Can you comment on that one?
Well, we were very pleased. On Thursday, we met with 4 organizers and we sat down and talked to them. And I had Mayor Judd, Mayor Dardis, I had Chad Peterson, I had people from the Human Relations Commission. Nicole Crutchfield is one of our planners that does these things. We had about 18 people in the room on Thursday and said, how can we help you have a successful protest? How can we honor George Floyd's life in the best manner we can do it? The first protest, they used bullhorns. It was very awkward. You couldn't hear what was going on. So we worked with one of our companies in town, set up a stage, set up the mics. You could easily hear what was going on. We brought our team in to help those organizers be able to express what they wanted to express. Also, we got Native American people as well Ruth Buffalo wanted to have their people speak as well. And I think Friday was a beautiful example of how to have a civil discourse and talk about things. We were able to have a great event. We said we'll do it from 1 to 3. We won't march. We'll just have that at the park. And Wes Flome was out there. And what Wes asked the group to do is he said, please make this be a peaceful demonstration. And in fact, he was going to ride with the police car that evening just to ride around and see what was going on. And everybody said, let's keep this peaceful and show the people that we can do that. I was extremely pleased with the organizers. The One Fargo organizers did a great job. Rochelle, Angela, Anaway, and Wes were very good in that event. We felt we really opened some dialogue in the community. I had a lot of people walk up to me afterwards and said, gee, I did not realize this was much a problem as it is, Tim. What can we do to help? We are having open dialogue about the police force and what we're going to do with the police force. We're going to get a new police chief, and we're opening that up as well. We're going to add some people on the committee. Human Relations Committee will place one person on there. Native American Commission will place one person on there. We'll have 4 public people on there as well. I'm asking people to apply to be on that committee. We want open dialogue and want everybody to be able to help us select our new police chief.
Well, what you're doing, but recently, I guess, Minneapolis City Council is defunding the police department. Yeah, what does that really mean, and what are the potential effects of that?
I think what they should really do is repurpose our police force. So when Chief Todd came on, we talked about a variety of ways to make impacts in the community. We've been very active in community policing. So you need to set your goals different. So community policing, you put your policemen out there and start working with the community. We have a youth program because we find a lot of the youth, if they get into crime and those things, it's very hard to get out of that. There's many studies show that if you can get the kid a job or you can work with him. I have a summer camp for children with my policemen. So we work very vigorously in community activity. We had some issues with people downtown that would cause petty crimes, would go into jail, couldn't get out because they couldn't pay for it. So then we set up a group that paid them to go down and clean up downtown so then they could pay their fine. Then we tried to find them affordable housing. Then we tried to find things for them that helped them out of poverty and out of a routine they didn't need. We have a detox center. We set up a detox center for people that have in trouble with alcohol and other issues. So we take care of those people, but then we try to refocus and decide where to go. Our police force also has been working with addiction and what goes on with addiction. So if we have somebody that's suicidal or having some issues because of drugs, we have a special team that goes out, not policemen, but other team members that go out and help to work with that social issue. We have de-escalation methods. We have different courses within the police department. So we had different courses we have, not only for our police, but our firemen, and talk about diversity and try to have people informed of what to do with that. Social workers for the county take over where social workers need to help. We have our firemen come out for medical emergencies. Our policemen do not do that. And some people do have their policemen doing all sorts of things. We try to keep them to that. The other part of that, John, is intelligent policing. So if you have a rash of burglars in a neighborhood, you need to know that, and then you need to find those people. So there's a lot of police work that is done that people don't even see that's behind the scenes, and that helps you keep your crime rate down. Do you want a safe city? in my community, people want a safe city. So I don't think they should defund them. I think they should rethink their purpose. And we've been very thoughtful about that. We want to be police force. In fact, one of the things I requested of all my city employees, I said, I want you to greet the public with a smile. I want you to look friendly. I don't want people to feel they can't approach you. We walk the beat downtown. I have police officers that walk the beat. We know who our problem people are and who not, and we work with them to try to get it so it's a safe environment for people to be downtown. You're downtown, as you know, we're one of the top 10 cities in the nation for a good downtown that people like to come down and see. Well, we want to make that so people are comfortable being in that area. But I also don't want the people that I live south of town, I don't want to neglect the homeowners that want to be safe in their environment. So we're very progressive in that, and we'd love to have more dialogue. Chief Todd and I have talked about this. So let's get groups together. What do you think we're not doing? What can we do better? He sent a text out, a post out, and just said that we're not perfect, but we're trying to do the best we can. And so we've had great dialogues, and people have to remember the city of Fargo, we lost a police officer 4 years ago, and that's hard for us to take. We know it has some risks in the guys that do it and women that do it. So we will work very vigorously with that. And I think Minneapolis should, change their focus and see what can we do better. And yeah, we don't always have to be the mean, tough guy. We need to be the people that listen to the people and work with your constituents.
Yeah, well, Mayor, one of the positive things I saw too was on Sunday morning after the May 30th protest, a lot of citizens were downtown helping to clean up.
Well, that you're going to make me cry again, John, but that really touched me because I came to City Hall. I was going to City Hall in the morning. We're preparing for a press conference, and I went to look at the damage, and it was like 7 in the morning, and there were like 50, 60 people down there. And this looks bizarre when they're, a broom and a dustpan cleaning up the glass. Now I have my trucks coming down to do a sweep of this all. But when you see just the public coming out and basically saying, we want our city back. We love our city and we don't want these scars. And I mean, everything was cleaned up. Our city teams came by and cleaned up things as well. But it was really heartwarming to see they love our city and they want to get it back to normal.
Well, Mayor, going back to COVID-19 for just a moment. Do you believe Fargo and Cass County will ever get back? Never be back to normal, because it's going to be a new normal. Here we are with video chatting for an interview. So what do you think about the future of where we'll go?
Well, I think we're a new normal. And the new normal is, if you have a chronic disease or are vulnerable, you may want to continue to wear a mask as you're out there. Incident of 2%, 2 out of 100 people are going to get it. So I'm hopeful this will die down. And then when we have a vaccine, that'll be our victory. But I think it makes people very conscious of germs and wash your hands and do things that you probably don't normally do. And I'm very hopeful that our population will continue to be respectful. I think it's funny now, we used to hug and shake hands, people who do that. And we were all a little bit, how do you do that? And I was in a grocery store shopping with my mask on. And a little old lady came up and came running over to me and said, oh, Mayor, so great to see you, and hugged me. And it felt, okay, we haven't done this for several months. But the reality is it's a new normal. I mean, we need to try to do that. I'd like the numbers to continue to stay at the 2% or lower. It's my belief as a physician, this will drop off in the summer. So that's what I'm hopeful to see happening. Red Hawks were talking about getting back to playing baseball. I think we need to do that. And, the Mighty Bison are going to play Oregon. I think people have to get back to how do we manage those when those things happen. So we be wearing masks more often. We may be doing precautionary things. But I think we can overcome this, and we need to get back to business.
Well, again, Mayor, probably been a tough few weeks for you, but what's the best part of being the mayor of Fargo?
Well, I love the community and love the people that are in my community. I have all sorts of people reach out to help, get notes and emails, and it just is one community that I think really gets it. If you ask them to do things, they're responsive. I think because we've had flood fights, they kind of know how to take direction. Okay, we're going to do this, and they have a tendency to do that. I couldn't be happier than the response the community's done. This COVID has been difficult, but we did it. We're one of the few states that did it. We did not spike like the mountain. And I just can't say enough about how much I just think that our people do a great job. And the other thing is I like is Black Lives Matter, different things going on. We're getting engagement. Let's talk. Let's have some dialogue. Let's open these things up for everybody. And I think that that's what I truly would love to see is more engagement, more involvement.
All right. Mayor, we're out of time. If people want more information, where can they go?
FargoND.gov, and that they can get on and ask questions. We're happy to ask dialogue. I have many staff members are here to help out in any way.
All right. Mayor, thanks so much for joining us today.
You're welcome. Thank you, John.
Well, that's all we have on Prairie Pulse this week. Please be safe, and as always, thanks for watching.
Funded by the members of Prairie Public.